I'm here with Bonvic Drilling Company, and today I'm answering one of the most important questions we receive from clients across Kenya. Can we know if our water will be salty before we even drill the borehole? This is a critical question because nobody wants to invest 300,000, 500,000 or even $1 million shillings drilling a borehole only to discover the water is too salty to drink or even to use it. So let's dive in and into the topic, and I promise by the end of this video you'll understand exactly how we predict the water salinity before drilling. Yes, we can predict the salinity with reasonable accuracy before drilling, but let me be completely transparent with you. We cannot be 100% certain until we actually drill and test the water. However, through proper investigation and scientific methods, we can significantly reduce your risk of encountering saline water. First, let me talk what we mean by salty or saline water. When we say water is salty, we are talking about the total dissolved solids, or the TDS for short. This includes salts like sodium chloride, but also other minerals like the calcium, magnesium, and sulfates. According to the World Health Organization standards, water with the TDS above 1,000 milligrams per liter starts becoming noticeable in taste. Above 1,500 milligrams per liter, it's generally considered unsuitable for drinking. Unfortunately, some areas in Kenya have boreholes producing water with TDS levels of 3,000, 5,000 or even 10,000 milligrams per liter. Essentially, the brackish water. Method 1, we use the hydrogeological survey. Now, let's talk about how we predict this before drilling. The first and the most crucial step is a comprehensive hydrogeological survey. This is not just walking around your property with divining rods. That's not science, and we don't practice that at Bonvic Drilling. A proper hydrogeological survey involves our qualified geologists studying the geological formations in your specific area. You see, Kenya has diverse geology, and certain rock formations are naturally associated with higher salinity levels. For example, areas with sedimentary rocks, especially the ancient lake beds or the marine deposits, often contain saline water. Parts of Machakos, Makueni, and Kajiado counties have such formations. Coastal regions like Mombasa, Kilifi, and Kwale are particularly susceptible because of seawater intrusion into the aquifer, especially if you are within 5 to 10 kilometers from the ocean. The Rift Valley region presents another challenge. Areas around Naivasha, Elementaita, and parts of Baringo have naturally occurring saline and alkaline water due to the volcanic activity and the geothermal influences. Even some parts of Laikipia and Samburu counties experience this. Our geologists study geological maps. They assess the rock types, understand the aquifer characteristics, and determine which water-bearing zones are more likely to have fresh water versus saline water. Method 2, the existing borehole data. This second method we use is analyzing the existing boreholes in your neighborhood. This is extremely valuable information. If there are boreholes within a 2 to 5 kilometer radius of your property, we investigate their water quality. We contact the owners, check with the local water resource authorities, and gather data on depth, yield, and most importantly, the water quality. If multiple boreholes in your area have salinity issues at certain depths, this tells us a lot. Perhaps the shallow aquifer at 50 to 80 meters has fresh water, but deeper zones at 150 meters are saline. This information guides our drilling depth recommendations. I'll give you a real example. In some parts of Athi River and Kitengela, we've found that boreholes drilled to depth of 80 to 120 meters often yield good fresh water. But if you drill deeper to 150 to 200 meters, you start experiencing saline water. This kind of local knowledge is invaluable. Method 3, the geophysical surveys. This method is geophysical surveying, specifically the electrical resistivity surveys. This is high-tech stuff, but let me explain it simply. We use equipment that sends electrical currents into the ground and measures how easily or difficult electricity flows through different rock layers. Fresh water has different electrical properties compared to saline water. Saline water conducts electricity much better because of the dissolved salts. Low resistivity readings, typically below 30 ohm meters, often indicate zones with higher mineral content, including salt. Higher resistivity readings suggest fresher water or harder rock formations. By mapping these readings across your property, we can identify which zones are more likely to contain fresh water. This method isn't foolproof, but combined with geological knowledge and existing borehole data, it gives us a strong indication of what to expect. Method 4, the topography and hydrology. We also look at the landscape and water flow patterns. Now, low-lying areas, closed drainage basins, or areas where water collects and evaporates naturally tend to accumulate salts over time. Hills and elevated areas with good drainage generally have fresher water. Additionally, we check proximity to salt lakes, soda lakes, or areas with alkaline soils. If you are near Lake Magadi, Lake Elementaita, or similar water bodies, salinity risk increases significantly. Now, here's the complete truth that every professional driller should tell you. Despite all these methods, we cannot be 100% certain until we actually drill and test the water. Why? Because the underground is incredibly complex. You might have a freshwater lens sitting on top of a saline water. You could have fresh water at 100 meters and saline water at 150 meters, or the reverse. Underground fractures, the faults, and variations in rock permeability create complex patterns that even the best survey cannot fully predict. I've seen cases where two boreholes just 100 meters apart have completely different water quality, one fresh, one saline, simply because they tapped into different fracture systems. This is why at Bonvic Drilling Company, immediately after completing any borehole, we always conduct the comprehensive water quality testing. We don't just hand over the borehole and walk away. We make sure we measure the total dissolved solids. We measure the electrical conductivity, the pH levels, the chloride content, the hardness, and other critical parameters. We send the samples to certified laboratories for detailed analysis. Only then we can tell you exactly what you have. Now, you might be wondering, what if we drill and find saline water? Is all that investment lost? Not necessarily. For moderately saline water, say 1500 to 3000 milligrams per liter TDS, we can install the reverse osmosis systems. These systems remove the excess salt and minerals, making the water suitable for drinking and domestic use. Yes, it's an additional cost, typically 150,000 to 500,000 shillings depending on capacity, but it will protect your borehole investment. For agricultural use, some crops are more salt tolerant than others. Water with moderate salinity might still work for livestock or certain irrigation purposes. However, if you find extremely saline water above 5,000 milligrams per liter, sometimes the best option is to drill at a different depth or at a different location entirely. This is exactly why the hydrogeological surveys is so critical. It minimizes these risks from the beginning. Let me be specific about areas where salinity is a particular concern, so you know if you should be extra cautious. Coastal regions: Mombasa, Kilifi, Kwale, and parts of Lamu. Seawater intrusion is real here. Parts of eastern Kenya, including areas in Machakos, Makueni, and Kitui counties, where sedimentary formations exist. Rift Valley areas, especially near lakes like Magadi, Elementaita, Baringo, and Bogoria. Some parts of Kajiado and Narok counties, particularly the lower lying areas. Areas in Samburu and parts of northern Kenya where geothermal activity influences the water chemistry. If your property is in any of these regions, a hydrogeological survey is not optional, it's absolutely essential. I know some clients hesitate to pay for a hydrogeological survey. A proper survey costs between 50,000 to 100,000 shillings, depending on the complexity. Some people think, why not just drill and take our chances? Here's the math. If you drill a borehole for 500,000 shillings and discover the water is too saline to use, you've potentially lost that entire investment. But if you spend 50,000 shillings on a proper survey that either confirms good water prospects or warns you about salinity risks, you are protecting your investment. The survey might even recommend drilling at a specific depth, avoiding certain zones, or selecting a better location on your property. This knowledge is worth its weight in gold. Or should I say, worth its weight in fresh water. At Bonvic Drilling Company, we never drill a single borehole without first conducting a thorough site investigation. We believe in doing things right for the first time. We've worked across multiple counties in Kenya: Machakos, Kiambu, Laikipia, Nakuru, Nairobi, and many others. And we've built our reputation on transparency and professionalism. We tell you the truth about what to expect. If your area has high salinity risk, we tell you upfront and discuss solutions. We don't promise what we cannot deliver, and we don't leave you with a useless borehole. So to answer the original question, can you identify the amount of saltiness before drilling a borehole? Yes, through hydrogeological surveys, geophysical testing, analyzing existing data, and understanding the local geology, we can make informed predictions. But absolute certainty only comes after drilling and testing. The key takeaway is this: never drill without a proper hydrogeological survey. It's not an expense, it's an insurance policy for your borehole investment. If you are planning a borehole project anywhere in Kenya and you want to avoid costly surprises, start with the right investigation. At Bonvic Drilling Company, we are here to guide you every step of the way. If you found this video helpful, Please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share these with anyone planning a borehole project. Drop your questions in the comments below or contact us directly for consultation. Thank you for watching, and remember, drilling without surveying is like building without a foundation. You might get lucky or you might face very expensive problems. Don't gamble with your investment.